Good morning, traders. It is Monday, June 17th. I am Jonathan van Clute with Stock Navigators, welcoming you back again for another brand new exciting week of trading and giving you, of course, a quick reminder, as always, to make sure you press that thumbs up button on the video here while you're watching it. Go ahead and hit it now and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can be kept updated on some big announcements we've got coming up in the very, very, very near future, like any moment now. And also so that you can be just generally notified of when we're going to be doing these broadcasts, which is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at about this time. And with that, let's go ahead and take a peek at what's happening in the markets right now. And we'll start with the ES, which is where we always start. And we've got a few possible scenarios to deal with here in the ES. One, let's just go to zoom out a bit here. One possible scenario is that this high here from last year, from the end of 2018, was actually the beginnings of a very large time frame pullback, in which case we're looking at an A, a B, and a C somewhere potentially down below this level. That's one possible viewpoint. Another possible viewpoint is that the retracement, the pullback from this level, finished here, and now we're starting the next major cycle up, in which case we've got basically a full 5 waves up, and then quite possibly a 3 waves down, A, B, C. And that is, in fact, what I've got drawn here. I've got the daily C, the daily A, B, etc. And this is the daily wave 5 of this move up. In which case now we are in a daily wave 1 to the upside. And that is a distinct possibility. However, there's another possibility, which is that this move down is not done yet. It didn't get quite to the 38.2. It got very close. Didn't quite get there. And there is a 15% chance, of course, that it only gets above the 38.2. So this is perfectly reasonable, perfectly commonplace. But it's also entirely possible that it is still going to want to head lower and maybe test, the 61.8, something like that. So it's possible that we could be looking at an A, a B, and a C yet to come. Right now, we can't be 100% certain of which one of these possible scenarios is playing out. But there are probabilities. And right now, the likelihood appears to be that, in fact, we're done with this ABC. We see the oscillator got quite low here, right at the 38.2, after making a very, very clear ABC. So it is looking to me like we're probably done here. But as you can see from past, it certainly can get lower. The oscillator can get considerably lower than this level. So there's a chance that it's not done yet. So don't overlook that and assume that we have to go higher. It's all going to depend on buyers being confident enough to come into this market and buy it up. As long as they will do that, then we will move higher. It's simple supply and demand. That's just the way the market works. Now, there is one thing, though, that has me wondering if, well, actually, before I get to that, let me back up a step. I was going to get ahead of myself. So right now, if this is a wave 1 up, we're thinking, okay, well, we're probably going to want to have a pullback somewhere. Wave 1, wave 2, then maybe a wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, etc. However, is that happening now? Is that what this is or not? It's not immediately clear from looking at the daily chart whether that's the case or not. Is this our wave 1, and now we're getting ready for maybe an A, B, C, and then wave 2, or rather wave 3 up, wave 2 would be completed down here. Is that what's shaping up? That is certainly a possibility. We've got to come down for that to be the case. And right now, the market is holding up really strong. The 13 EMA, of course, is pointing very upwards. The 50 is sideways to slightly sloping up, but the oscillator is above the 0 line. MACD is above the 0 line, and above, of course, its signal line. Everything is basically bullish right now. And looking at the smaller time frame, I start to have my doubts as to whether or not we are even ready to pull back yet. And that's because we have had really no or very little negative oscillator readings. This is really the first time the oscillator got even below the zero line since this move began. And really, ideally, on a ending of a wave, like a wave two, or a wave four, something like that, we're looking for a significant pullback, and we're looking for some, oscillator readings to come down and things like that. So, the question becomes: is this the end of wave five of five waves up? In other words, becomes the end of the full wave one. So, wave if we're thinking this is wave one, right? One, two, and then maybe three coming up, something like that. Then we're thinking right now, okay, this is the end of wave one. But do I see a clear cut five waves here with an obvious wave four and so on a 60-minute level? And it's not real clean to me. And since this is the first time we started to get some negative oscillator readings, I'm sort of inclined to think that this is actually only the end of wave three of five, and that this is wave four, and that perhaps wave five is yet to come. So I'm thinking we could have some upside still before this wave one up is done, and then we get the wave two down. We don't know that for certain yet. Certainly, if the buyers don't step up, the sellers do come in, and we push down further here, then that would be more likely to make me say that, yeah, okay, this was wave one, and now we've had wave two, and now we're ready for wave three to the upside. But just looking at that smaller time frame, I'm wondering if perhaps we're actually just about to get into a wave five. Basically, this was wave four of the smaller time frame, and wave five coming up to finish the wave one of the entire of the daily level. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Definitely, this week is going to be an interesting one. Now let's take a peek at the Russell 2000 RTY, and it is doing much the same thing, actually. Very, very similar. Oops, jump to the end here. Very similar situation, and we have a bit more oscillator activity here. This market has been moving up, and I am inclined actually to say that it's had, a possibly a wave one, wave two, maybe a wave three and a four, and possibly a five, and maybe it's done. But this market is also holding up. It does not really seem to want to come down, but it is, of course, below the 50 SMA, and it's above the 13. So it's kind of sandwiched between these two right now. The oscillator is not yet above the zero line. The MACD line also not yet above the zero line. So in that respect, it is weaker, and we don't really have a clear-cut picture of what is to come yet. So the Russell, a little bit weaker in my eyes. It's also got the oscillator been getting weaker and weaker and weaker with each one of these pushes up. So I'm a little less confident in the Russell right now. It is, to me, looking like it is the weaker of the two. We'll have to wait and see what plays out. Can the oscillator get above the zero line? That's going to be certainly very important. If it can do that, then I would expect to see some follow through to the upside potentially. And we might be able to maybe climb over the 50 SMA, something like that. But right now, it's looking a little on the tired side. Right now, the oscillator on both the daily and the 60-minute is below the zero line. MACD line also below the zero line. MACD line is just really kissing its signal line right now. So really anything could happen. It could really go either direction right now, but it's looking weak. So I would be, at the moment, a little inclined not to believe a push up. If we get an early, sudden push up in the morning, I would be unlikely to want to chase that. We would need to see it hold up and continue for a while. We need to take out this high and establish higher highs and higher lows. in order to believe in a move to the upside. So be real cautious if you trade the RTY. Get rid of this extension here on this trend line since it's been broken. There we go. All right, let's take a look at crude oil now. And crude has just been kind of a double bottom down here. You can see that it came down off of this high and has broken the 61.8 retracement of this wave here, but came right back to it again and then gave up and now is trying to get back up to it again. So definitely there is some support happening in this area. And, you can see in past, this area has also been support and back here as well. So it's not terribly surprising to see some support there. But clearly, we don't yet have anything resembling higher highs and higher lows. We are still in bear territory. The bears are still in control. Oscillator is negative on the 60-minute. Of course, clearly negative on the daily. And right now, the bears are very much holding on to this market. So there could be further downside, no question about it. Could come all the way down and double bottom again, come back and test this buy zone, something like that. Or it could go sideways for a while longer, hold in this area, work off some of this sort of, I guess you could call it oversold oscillator reading, and then get ready for the next move up. But right this instant, anyway, things are looking more bearish than bullish to me in crude oil. So I would be really cautious about trading any longs. Short term, of course, there are opportunities. There's always opportunities short term. You've got moves like this day here, big strong move up. Even just in the last couple of hours, we've had a couple of up candles here. So there are moves to be had if they suit your trading style, they suit your trading personality and your risk reward parameters and all that good stuff. There are short-term trades to be had in both directions. There are definitely trades to the downside as well as trades to the upside. So you just have to know what to look for, and they just need to fit your personal trading style. Certainly, a cross of the zero line here is a significant event, and when you see that, you can expect further follow through, as well as this here. So trade accordingly in crude. Gold has been on quite the tear, but you can see what happened when it got here. It stopped dead in its tracks. We had a significant sell-off here, very sharp shooting star on the daily, and that market just was not able to go higher and take out that high there. But it's by no means done. It's not like it just sold off and collapsed back down again. It pulled back slightly, one more push up, and it came off just the tiniest bit yesterday, but not much. It's hanging in there. It's holding up. And although the oscillator did get below the zero line temporarily, it is trying to turn around right now and head back up higher. It's gotten over the 13, but not yet over the 50. So there is certainly buying pressure still happening. There is pressure to the upside to have some more follow through, but is it going to be able to do that immediately without kind of working off some more of this daily oscillator? That is the question, because you can see comparing to the past, it's up there. I mean, can it get higher? Yes, absolutely, no question. It can get higher. But for recent history, anyway, it's definitely up there. It's in the upper ends of its range for the oscillator for quite some time, for a couple of years almost. So is it really going to have enough momentum in it right now to just march higher and take out these highs and continue? I don't know. I'm thinking it's unlikely. But hey, again, it's just buyers and sellers. If the buyers want this market bad enough, if the broad market were to begin to drop again, then we could see people head to gold. That is the common response to an uncertain market, is to head to gold. So we could see that happen. Need to just keep a real sharp eye on these highs here, and if it can take out this high here, come back for another round, then we certainly could see some upside follow through. But I'm thinking we're more likely to see a weakening oscillator to come lower and lower and work this off, and then eventually be able to march higher again. As long as we stay up above this low here, then we're still doing on the bigger picture higher highs and higher lows. So we could still march higher from there. But for the short term anyway, we need to take out that high there or this low here, and you can see those here as well on the 60. So watch out for those levels and just trade cautiously. This is a little bit of an uncertain moment here in these markets. All right, natural gas is working on putting in a bottom. Of course, I thought it had done this once before, and then it did not, and it gave up and sold off lower down into this buy zone. But the oscillator did a double bottom here, and looks like price is wanting to hold up in this buy zone. So we'll have to see what happens. The oscillator on the 60-minute right now is working on heading lower. If it can get to that zero line and cross it, then we could be looking for some follow through to the downside. So we need to be really cautious about that. The MACD line is right now, of course, below the signal line, and it's about to cross that zero line. That could be significant as well. That could be kind of our first sign that we are going to have more sell-off to come in crude, in natural gas, wrong market. Right now, however, price is holding above the 50 SMA. You can see it came down in just this past hour, but then shot right back up above it. So the 50 is doing a good job of acting as support on the 60 minutes. On the daily, of course, we're still below the 50. The 50 is still trending downwards. The 13 is also trending downwards, and we're also below that. So we're very steadily continuing to be bearish on the daily. The 60-minute is trying to go bullish, but as of yet hasn't really been able to do it. It was not able to get over this level here, and hold it. It just poked above it for less than an hour and then came back below and sold off. So the buyers need to come in and buy up this market to push it higher. That's just the way it's going to have to go. So right now we're not really seeing much of that, but watch for it. Certainly if we take out this low here, then we can look for possible follow through to the downside and maybe at least test the bottom of this buy zone area here. But if we can take out this high and hold it and then establish a higher low that is above this level, then we could start to see a final turnaround in this market. Certainly, natural gas has gotten beaten down pretty severely, so it might be looking to finally start to stage a rally. All right, now Bitcoin has been just absolutely refusing to give up. It has been a tremendous market, just very, very, very bullish, incredibly, incredibly strong. A 50 SMA is just pointing nearly straight up. The market has just refused to sell off, and it looks to me like we are setting up for a wave 5, finishing up right here. To me, I see a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a 4, and I see a 5 shaping up right now. So we could have a little bit further room to go, certainly to the upside. Be cautious about one other thing here, which is if I zoom in on the 60 minutes, we've got a double top that just happened just the past hour. And look at the oscillator. It is significantly divergent at that level. So I would be very cautious here about longs. We could be getting ready to finish a wave 5, and then maybe we'll get a sell-off, get some profit taking, get a pullback retracement to maybe somewhere down here, or maybe even just down into this area here. It was previous support here where the market reversed on the wave 4. And if that happens, then we could be setting up for the next push higher from there. But just be cautious at this level. Of course, this is crypto, and crypto is even more volatile and crazy and unpredictable than other markets. So if the buyers just want it bad enough, it's all about supply and demand, and there's a very small supply in crypto. And at the moment, there's a huge demand. So it's entirely possible that this could be a very long wave 5. It could be an extended wave 5. And certainly on the smaller time frame, I don't see any really clear 5-wave pattern to suggest that wave 5 is done. So although, yes, we do have the double top, and yes, we have a weakening oscillator, really it's going to boil down to buyers. If the buyers step in here, then we could have further upside. We've also got, you can see on the daily basis here, be cautious because you can see the oscillator readings similarly on the daily is that the if this is a 5, this ending wave here is significantly lower than the previous levels. So oscillators getting weaker as price marches higher. So just be very cautious about going long Bitcoin at this level. I would be more inclined to wait for a pullback unless you're just scalping. If you're a scalper, you're doing automated trading, something like that, then yes, there's always opportunity. But if you're looking to buy and hold, I would be inclined to want to wait for a pullback here. Of course, that being said, in crypto, oftentimes you wait, you miss it because it's crypto. And when people gotta have it, they gotta have it. They will pay whatever price. So, all right, last peek at the S&P. Nothing really has changed here. This market is just kind of waiting for the opening bell here in about a half hour. So I'm going to go get ready for our premium trading room this morning. Those of you who will be there, I'll see you there in a few minutes. Everybody else, please be sure to give us that thumbs up on this video while you're sitting there watching this, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can be kept up to date on future announcements. We've got a big one coming any moment. And just come back again and do this again on Wednesday. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll be back to do this again on Wednesday. So until then, trade well and take care of yourself. Bye-bye.